Democrats really need to cut loose the celebrities. They're not helping. They don't strike people as normal because they're not. Democrats already have a problem with people thinking that they are not the common sense crowd. And then when they see, the Chapel Roans and the Billie Eilishes of the world who don't act like normal people, and then whatever they're saying just strikes everybody in America who's a normal person as, oh God,
all right,
here's more of this stuff where you can't relate to a real life. There's a reason why we sometimes separate boys and girls. Boy Scouts now have girls in them. I think this is ridiculous. It's called the Boy Scouts. Do you have to always be stupidly counterintuitive about everything?
All right, let's be honest. A lot of actors, producers, and directors have picked up awards that some critics believe were handed out to please the woke crowd. But Bill Maher says that's only part of the story, because he thinks a much bigger problem is starting to shake Hollywood. On a recent episode of Club Random, he takes direct aim at both Democrats and the entertainment industry, and he doesn't hold back. Hit the subscribe button, and let's jump right into it.
And then whatever they're saying just strikes everybody in America who's a normal person as, oh God,
all right,
here's more of this stuff where you can't relate to a real life. And of course, there was comedy in there about it's so easy to show celebrities acting crazy, like giving Kanye a school.
I went to a Kamala Harris rally. My wife and I donated to the campaign.
Oof.
Maher goes right after Democrats, saying they need to stop depending on celebrities because most everyday Americans don't see themselves in them. He argues that celebrities live in a completely different world, far removed from the daily struggles many people face. Their wealth gives them a level of comfort that protects them from rising prices, safety concerns, and many of the cultural issues affecting ordinary families. Maher says more people are starting to notice that disconnect. He points to Emma Watson as an example, mentioning her support for allowing transgender women into women's bathrooms. Critics argue that it's easier to hold that view when you're unlikely to face the same situations as most people. They say Watson rarely uses public spaces the way average people do, and when she does, she usually has security and privacy. Maher's argument is that this growing gap between celebrity opinions and everyday life is one reason many voters are paying less attention to famous voices and looking for people who feel more connected to reality.
I went to a Kamala Harris rally. My wife and I donated to the campaign.
Oof.
And Megan Thee Stallion played. And that was pretty epic, Bill, if you were there. I mean, it really invigorated, excitement,
It really invigorated the people who are already going to vote for her anyway. That's who invigorated.
There is no correct, Bill. There is no correct.
I mean, you can jerk each other off all day long. Kamala Harris lost all 7 swing states. I mean, she went 0 for 7 where the election was. I mean, that's not, you have to almost try. As I've said many times, they lost a crazy contest against a crazy person. You do you vote for who you want, you believe what you want. I'm friends with everybody.
And that's the point Maher is making. He argues that Democrats relied heavily on celebrity support to help Kamala Harris, but it didn't make much difference with the undecided voters who mattered most. The people attending those polished DNC events were already supporters. They didn't need to be persuaded. In Maher's view, that wasn't reaching new voters. It was speaking to people who already agreed. His message is simple. Stop talking only to the base and start connecting with voters in the middle. Put forward voices that feel genuine, relatable, and grounded instead of people who seem disconnected from everyday life. Above all, he says the party should stop trying to satisfy only the loudest voices on the progressive left. Instead, Maher believes Democrats should focus on practical ideas and present themselves as steady, balanced, and in touch with how most Americans are living today.
I'm a fan, so I'm like, oh, let's see Bill, and it's a pressure situation. They're calling your name, you're in front of all those people. Do you give whether you win or lose?
Of course. I mean, you have to be some sort of a liar to say, oh no, I got all dressed up in a monkey suit and, put on makeup at 3 in the afternoon. This giant traffic jam. I hated every minute of it. I hated all those Emmy award shows I went to, and they would never give it to me, and they never will, and I understand why. I mean, I had such a good speech, but I knew that. I did.
Give it to us. Come on, give us a little bit.
Oh, I don't remember what it was, but I think the first thing I was going to say was, I can't believe this woke town gave me an award.
Yeah. That's why they didn't give it to you, I guess. They didn't want to hear that.
Exactly why.
Bill Maher didn't win the award, and honestly, he probably wasn't expecting to. After years of openly criticizing woke Hollywood and what he sees as its close ties to the Democratic Party, he says the entertainment industry no longer rewards talent alone. In his view, success now depends too much on following the right political views, and he spent years speaking out against that. So when he was nominated for Best Performance in Stand-Up Comedy on Television at this year's Golden Globe Awards, the outcome didn't surprise him. But instead of staying silent, Maher criticized the organizers, accusing them of giving in to the same woke culture he's been warning about for years. To him, it wasn't just about losing an award. He believes moments like this add to the evidence that Hollywood is moving away from rewarding merit and becoming more driven by politics, a direction he argues could eventually push many people away.
There's a reason why we sometimes separate boys and girls. You know, Boy Scouts now have girls in them. I think this is ridiculous. It's called the Boy Scouts. Do you have to always be stupidly counterintuitive about everything? Girls, they also need time when they're just with girls because they can't be around these knuckleheads.
Yeah.
You look like you're angry about this.
No, I'm not angry. I'm just trying to think about it, and I'm like, this is really what I try to do. I try not to get angry about these things, Bill, okay? And I try to think, what I was thinking was, why would they do?
Maher doesn't hold back here as he talks about what he believes is a major cultural shift surrounding masculinity. He argues that for years, traditional masculine traits have been portrayed as something negative, leaving many men unsure about how they're expected to act. In his view, that message has caused some men to turn away from masculinity altogether. Maher also points to organizations like the Boy Scouts of America, criticizing the decision to allow girls to join and saying it reflects a broader trend of male-only spaces becoming less distinct or disappearing. He believes the issue isn't really about inclusion, but about changing or weakening those spaces. Then he points to the next part of the conversation, saying listeners should pay close attention to what Jerry O'Connell says because, in Maher's view, it supports the concerns he's been raising all along.
Okay, and I try to think, what I was thinking was, why would they do that? And maybe it's to take away stigma of gender. I don't know.
I'll tell you why, Jerry, they do it. Because the kind of assholes who live here amongst us, the kind of super woke people, they live to have themselves thought of as the good people, as the social justice warriors. So they're always looking for some new marginalized people to champion. And of course, the very thought of it is noble. And I get it. And I'm an old school liberal.
100%.
We've always been there for this.
100%.
And they take it just 10 subway stops too far
100%.
to places where it's just about making them feel like they're doing something.
Maher takes the argument even further, focusing on what he believes drives much of the woke movement. In his view, it's less about solving real problems and more about sending signals that show moral superiority. He argues that many of these actions look more like performance than genuine activism. From his perspective, some public positions are taken not to create real change, but to gain approval, receive praise, and earn support within certain groups. He believes the louder and more extreme the message becomes, the more attention it attracts. Maher says that's the system being rewarded, and once virtue becomes a contest, he argues that authenticity begins to disappear. In his opinion, that change doesn't just shift priorities. It also creates division, fuels resentment, and can weaken the very causes it claims to support.
Feel like they're doing something, and you know what? You're not Rosa Parks. You're not anybody who's doing anything. You're just like trying to be this sort of social justice warrior. And there's no war that needs to happen here. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, there's no hate crime happening. Okay, it's just about the way it really is with boys and girls.
I think I can speak on this as someone who has two 17-year-old girls here in Los Angeles.
Maher argues that much of this outrage is aimed at the wrong target, and he believes that's why his message connects with many people. The main question he asks is simple. What is the real problem that calls for this level of change? Groups like the Girl Guides have existed alongside the Boy Scouts of America for years, with each serving its own purpose and tradition. Critics argue the changes weren't driven by clear harm or unfair treatment, but by a broader effort to redefine long-standing institutions through activism. From their point of view, it isn't about repairing something that was broken. It's about changing systems that were already working. That's where many people's frustration begins. When major changes happen without a problem that most people agree exists, they can seem unnecessary or even performative. It also raises a bigger question about whether every long-standing tradition really needs to be replaced or completely reshaped.
They are their own worst enemies with so much of this. You're talking about your boyfriend, Mamdani, in New York. A lot. I don't know what the tally.
My boyfriend, but
yeah, I don't know what the tally
casually
is.
seeing each other.
I don't know what the tally is now, but it's in the at least high teens of homeless people who have died in the freezing, because it's just not the policy of the woke to ever think that we could forcibly get people off the street, which is what we used to think.
Right.
Old
There were
school
vagrancy
liberals.
laws. When I was younger, there was no vagrancy.
It was what we thought was compassionate, to not be sleeping in 0-degree weather on the sidewalk.
It's not only Zoran Mamdani facing criticism over homelessness. Gavin Newsom, who Maher has praised at times in the past, is now part of the same debate. There was a time when many believed helping people leave the streets, even without their consent, was the more compassionate choice because it could protect them from crime, addiction, and dangerous living conditions. But that approach drew strong criticism from activists, who argued it was coercive and unfair. Over time, the response shifted in the opposite direction. In many places, people are now allowed to remain on the streets, even during unsafe conditions or severe weather, in the name of personal freedom. Critics argue that this is not true compassion, but neglect presented as moral concern. They say the growing gap between what sounds good in theory and what happens in real life is at the center of this ongoing debate.
Makes sense for the old school liberals of the world, as opposed to what just sometimes seems performative. Now, again, people should absolutely get what they deserve, but also, we live in the era we live in. I can't change the fact that Tilly Norwood is now a movie star. You know who that is?
No, I don't. I'm so sorry.
That's the AI actress.
Oh.
Tilly Norwood. She's not real.
Maher puts it simply. He believes Hollywood needs to become more practical if it wants to stay successful. In his view, the industry has spent too much time trying to satisfy the woke crowd while pushing real creativity and talent into the background. Instead of focusing on a small but loud audience, Maher says Hollywood should get back to the basics by rewarding great storytelling, strong performances, and work that connects with everyday viewers. He argues that awards should recognize excellence, not political views. When people believe awards are given for ideology instead of quality, the system begins to lose credibility, and audiences slowly turn away. Maher says the answer is straightforward. Rebuild trust, put quality first, reward authenticity, and stop letting outside political pressure shape entertainment. Otherwise, he believes Hollywood will keep losing touch with the people who helped make it successful.
Jerry?
How many spaces does she take when she parks in
I don't know, but
Caruso Mall?
None, because she doesn't exist outside of AI.
Is she attractive?
She's very attractive. I mean, this is the future of movies. They're going to shoot it for $10.
Does she have to get high in order for to have a
you
conversation?
don't have to do. That's the point. They're going to want to hire Tilly Norwood.
No, they won't. I'm not
Yes,
afraid of AI.
Oh,
Could AI
should.
recreate who you are every Friday night on HBO Max?
No, not me. But
No.
a lot of things they could.
Could they have recreated this conversation? Could AI have come
No.
up with us, talking about Fat Kid from Stand By Me and Goo and Frozen Homeless and covering it all?
No, absolutely not. But could they make Maverick, Top Gun? Yeah.
At the end of the day, Maher says this goes far beyond award shows or political arguments. He believes the real issue is authenticity, something he thinks both Hollywood and the political left are quickly losing. Whether it's celebrities lecturing everyday people, institutions giving in to activist pressure, or awards being handed out for ideology instead of talent, he argues the disconnect is becoming more obvious. Maher believes audiences are noticing, and their frustration isn't only about politics or culture. It's about feeling overlooked and spoken for by elites who claim to represent everyone. His message is simple: get back to common sense, reward real talent, and reconnect with everyday reality. If Hollywood and political leaders stay on the same path, he believes they'll continue pushing away the very people who helped build their success. And once that trust is lost, earning it back won't be easy. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this political commentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload.